From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Laurie Klein reading Willow Creek, Book 3 in the Cheyenne Trilogy, by Carolyn Lampman. Now let's begin with Willow Creek, Chapter 1. Wyoming Territory, March 1886. "Watch it, sodbuster!" The drunk cowboy glowered down at Nicky, or what he could see of her. Only faded dungarees and small-booted feet were visible beneath the heavy winter coat and wide-brimmed hat. "Don't you know enough to get out of the way when your betters come along?" Nicky swallowed a retort and stepped away. The man had blundered right into her as she came out of the mercantile, but the last thing she needed was trouble with 3 cowpokes from the Bar X.
"Hey, boy,"
said the man's tall, rangy companion,
"you owe Shorty an apology."
Nicky gritted her teeth. She'd rather spit in his face. "Sorry," she mumbled. "Well, you best teach this squatter some manners, Buck," the third man said with a sinister smile. "I say we throw him in the horse trough." Nicky backed up against the wall and watched the 3 men warily. She wasn't afraid of a dunking, but such things had a tendency to snowball when whiskey was involved, and these men had clearly been drinking a long time. At least they were too drunk to realize they were dealing with a full-grown woman instead of an adolescent boy. Barely 5 foot tall, Nicky was used to people making that mistake. Even without her heavy coat, the bulky long johns effectively hid her slender figure. Suddenly one of the cowhands lunged, and Nicky struck out with a small fist. As her assailant clutched his midsection in pain, the third man grabbed her from behind, pinning her arms to her sides. Struggling wildly, she soon realized it was impossible to escape that way. She slumped in apparent defeat and waited while the other cowboy approached. When he was a mere 2 feet away, Nicky leaned back and swung her foot up in a vicious kick. Taken unaware, the man holding her stumbled backward as his friend howled in agony when the boot connected with his knee. But it wasn't enough, and Nicky knew it. Her heart thumped wildly in her chest as the 2 she'd injured picked themselves up and headed for her. Desperately, she fought the hands that held her, but to no avail. Nothing but a miracle could save her now. "All right, gentlemen, I think you've had enough fun for one day." The 4 combatants froze at the sound of a rifle being cocked. "Let the boy go." Nicky twisted around in surprise. The voice belonged to a complete stranger. Standing well over 6 feet tall, his bulk seemed to fill the doorway of the mercantile. A full beard hid his expression, but the blue-gray eyes glinted dangerously as he stepped forward onto the boardwalk. His appearance was nearly as menacing as the rifle he held pointed at the man restraining Nicky.
"Now, mister," said one of the cowboys, lifting his hands, "you don't understand what's going on. This here's my little brother. Snuck off to town, and Pa sent my friends and me to fetch him home."
"He doesn't seem to want to go with you."
"That's because he was planning on going to the saloon and getting himself a woman,"
Nicky's captor replied. All at once Nicky found her voice.
"That's not true, A
hand was clamped over her mouth before she could finish. The cowboy holding her smiled nervously.
"He's a lying little brat, too."
He yelped as Nicky sank her teeth into his hand.
"Why, you little—"
He raised the injured hand to cuff his captive, then froze as the rifle barrel jabbed into the underside of his jaw.
"Somehow I find it hard to believe he's your brother,"
Levi said.
"Now, are you going to let him go? Or am I going to have to get nasty?"
Nicky was released, and all three men backed away.
What business is it of yours whether—
Sample complete. Ready to continue?